Now, the thoracic and lumbar vertebrae are pretty typical of vertebrae because, again, there are going to be 12 of the thoracic vertebrae and 5 of the lumbar. Now, here are some of the features that you need to be aware of and be able to recognize on an exam. First, this long bump that comes off the side, straight off the back. This is called the spinous process. Now, the spinous process on thoracic vertebrae, like this one, tend to point downward. You can see the downward angle there. Now, the opening, or vertebral foramen, that you saw on the cervical vertebrae, also present on the thoracic vertebrae. But here, notice the difference in the shape. The vertebral foramen is circular and more uniform on thoracic vertebrae. Now, the other thing that I've always found helpful to help people remember where the vertebrae came from is the body. Now remember, on cervical vertebrae, the body is extremely small, or in the case of the atlas, it's missing completely. On the thoracic vertebrae, the body is much larger, and to me, this kind of looks like a heart. Now remember, the heart is in the thoracic cavity. Should help you remember those pretty easily. But also, the other parts that you need to be aware of are these projections that come off on the back side. These are the transverse processes. You'll have one on each side. Now, the transverse process on thoracic vertebrae are unique. They have to have an attachment for the ribs. Now, on thoracic vertebrae with the ribs, you'll have a point of attachment here, beginning of the rib, it'll branch across, and you'll find a small, smooth portion on the transverse process. And this is pretty unique here. These are called facets. This facet is where the ribs will attach.